It's devastating. Devastating disease.
And I tell you, my grandmother had it, my mother had it.
Yeah.
And every time I can't remember her name, I go,
Yeah, I know. Week. They were good. I mean, and it was only two original ones. You know, Brian Wilson, I don't think he performed. He had a nervous breakdown. Yeah. But they were good. You know. Mike Love, he's like 75. Alex Rowe, he's like 73. You know, it was an enjoyable evening. Oh, yeah.
Good evening. This is a meeting of the Township Committee, July 18, 2016. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
The feedback there.
Notice that this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Star Ledger, the Independent, and the Two River Times, and by posting at the Middletown Township Municipal Building and filing with the Township Clerk on January 7, 2016. Committeeman Estelle.
Here.
Committeewoman Murray. Here. Committeeman Sedembriano.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Here.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence on our troops serving worldwide, defending our constitutions, freedoms, and way of life. Thank you. Our first item on tonight's agenda, we have administration of oath of office for Patrolman Eric R. Kalakutak. You would please come forward with your family.
Before I swear the new officer in, I just want to say what an absolute honor and privilege it is to be swearing a new officer into Middletown's wonderful police force, especially with, in light of the way things have been lately. It really is quite an honor. I'm in awe of what they do for the town, and I'm really honored that you're willing to be a part of this.
I, Eric Kalakutak,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear
and that I will bear
true faith
true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established
established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people.
and I do swear to faithfully,
I do swear to faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office
of the office
of Middletown Township Police Officer,
of Middletown Township Police Officer,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
I want to thank the governing body for allowing us to hire Eric. We looked at it earlier in the year, didn't have enough time at that point. By way of background, he's a resident of Howell Township, graduated from Howell Township High School, also graduated of Brookdale Community College, where he was on the dean's list, as an associate's degree in criminal justice. Previously worked in Bradley Beach as a police dispatcher, a Class 1 special police officer, and also a Class 2 special police officer. He graduated in May 13th of this year with a few of our officers. He'll be going back to Monmouth County Police Academy for minimal training, about 18 classes over the coming months, and going in for a field training program later this month. And we're honored to have him. Excellent candidate. He's going to be a fine addition to the department. I also want to mention today is his birthday.
All right.
Our next item on tonight's agenda, we're going to do the presentation recognizing Middletown as the 5th safest place to raise a child in the United States. At this time, I'd like to invite Superintendent of Schools, Dr. William George, to please come forward, and board members Sue Griffin, Mike Donlin, and Ernest Donnelly, please come forward. I'd also like to invite Middletown Police Chief Craig Weber.
Okay, for those of you who may not have read or heard about it, Middletown is the 5th safest place to raise a child in the country. And this is no small achievement. When you think of all of the towns that would be considered, and I think there was only 2 in the entire Northeast, us and Greenwich, Connecticut. So that's a pretty high honor to think that 2 towns, and we're in the top 5 in the entire country in the Northeast. So it really is a testament to the tremendous police department that we have here, the great demographics of the town. The residents really care about this town, all the great civic associations, and you see it outside how much they care for this town. So it really is a good thing, and everybody deserves high fives all around. It really is a great honor. With that, I'm going to read the certificates for, first one is for the Middletown Township School District. In recognition of every educator's effort to make Middletown the safest place in New Jersey, and the 5th safest place in the nation to raise a child. High graduation rates, school rankings, and after-school programs will help the town achieve these impressive rankings in SafeWise report, the 30 safest cities to raise a child. Congratulations. Where's this picture? Now the police department. Not to be left out. In recognition of every officer's effort to make Middletown the safest place in New Jersey and the 5th safest place in the nation to raise a child. Record-breaking reductions in crime and child-friendly programs are what helped us achieve these impressive rankings in SafeWise report, the 30 safest cities to raise a child. Congratulations. I guess this one is out, so it's just to Middletown Township. It really is a great honor, and I don't want to tip your hand, but I think crime statistics are even lower than last last year's record low. So it's a testament to the chief and his great department and everything that they do. We have a great relationship, great communication, and the proof is in the numbers. What I was going to say. You want to say something?
Just, it's a tremendous honor. It has definitely been a team effort. We have an excellent relationship with the school board and second to none with the superintendent. Men and women in the police department have been absolutely wonderful. We have the support of the community. We get the best crime strategies and the best programs. So with that support of the governing body, you give the resources and the personnel to achieve your mission. We couldn't do it without that help of the public too. So just very grateful and honored. And in light of the recent events in the news, we really appreciate what a wonderful community we have. The outpouring of support has been tremendous in the past 2 weeks. We've been receiving food baskets, flowers, cards, phone calls, email visits from children. So it's really been touching. We really appreciate it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I want to do.
Our next item on tonight's agenda, we have the presentation of a proclamation declaring July 23rd, 2016 as Belford Chemical Engine Company #1 Day.
Good.
This time I'd like to invite the members of the Belford Chemical Engine Company #1 to please come forward.
Go for it.
This is quite a testament to our volunteer fire department, the biggest in the world, right? It's still the biggest? The world's largest. And it just goes to show what needs we have in the community. And think about 100 years ago, what they must have been talking about at those meetings, huh? The shark attack in Middletown that just happened. But it really is something, and hopefully it'll be 100 years after this. I want to read the proclamation. Turn over to the Belford folks. Whereas Belford Engine Chemical Company #1 was born out of the bucket brigade, formed to put out a fire at Joe Clark's lumber yard in winter of 1916. And whereas Belford Engine Chemical Company #1 was incorporated on August 14, 1916, making them the third organized company in the Middletown Township Fire Department. Their first truck, a Victor chemical engine, arrived that November. And whereas over the years the firehouse was renovated to include 2 bay entrances and newer trucks were required to keep up with changing times. And whereas Belford Engine's membership continued to grow along with the size of modern fire equipment. In the 1990s, the firefighters decided to buy Langford's property and build the 4 bay firehouse they call home today. And whereas Belford Engine Chemical Company #1, known as the Working Company, is celebrating their 100th anniversary on Saturday, July 23rd. And whereas Belford Engine has been an integral part of the township's firefighting community for the last century. The mayor and township committee wish to take this opportunity to thank every member of Belford Engine Chemical Company #1, past and present, for their unwavering commitment to keeping Middletown citizenry safe. Therefore, I, Mayor Jerry Schaffenberger, and the Middletown Township Committee hereby proclaim July 23rd, 2016 as Belford Chemical Engine Company #1 Day in Middletown Township in celebration of the fire company's 100th anniversary. Congratulations, all.
Mayor, council, our administrator, and citizens, community of Belford. It's a great honor to be part of Belford Engine, and we can't thank you guys enough too, and we can't, council, everybody, thank you for your support over the years, so thank you.
And that's a real cheat. Get you guys involved.
We have the approval of minutes for April 18, 2016. 2016 executive session. We have the April 18, 2016 regular meeting, May 2nd, 2016 executive session, and May 2nd, 2016 workshop meeting.
Move for approval.
Second.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeewoman Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve minutes. Our next item, we have public hearing of proposed ordinances. Our first ordinance, 2016-3172, ordinance authorizing enforcement of traffic regulations upon the private or semi-public roadways and parking areas within the Heritage at Middletown subdivision.
Are there any members of the public who would like to speak to ordinance number 2016-3172? Yes, ma'am.
What is that in relation to?
Enforcement of traffic at Eckerd.
Okay. Are there any other members of the public who would like to speak to ordinance 2016-3172? Seeing no members of the public come forward, move to close the public portion and move for adoption.
Second.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeewoman Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. Our next ordinance for public hearing, we have 2016-3173, an ordinance authorizing enforcement of Title 39 traffic regulations upon private or semi-private roadways and parking areas within a minor subdivision consisting of Woodside Street.
Are there any members of the public who would like to speak to ordinance number 2016-3173? Seeing no members of the public come forward, move to close the public portion and move for adoption.
Second.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeewoman Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt ordinance 2016-3173 on second and final reading. Our next ordinance for public hearing, we have 2016-3174, an ordinance amending section 127-24 of the Code of the Township of Middletown governing the Department of Recreation fee schedule, establishing fees for special event permits.
Are there any members of the public who would like to speak to ordinance number 2016-3174? Is that a yes? Okay, seeing no members of the public come forward, move to close the public portion and move for adoption.
Second. Yes, second.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeewoman Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. It's too quiet in here.
A little technical difficulty. Please stand by.
Okay, our next ordinance for public hearing, 2016-3175, an ordinance amending section 193-3E of the Code of the Township of Middletown governing the consumption of alcoholic beverages at township parks and facilities.
Are there any members of the public who would like to speak to ordinance number 2016-3175? Seeing no members of the public come forward, move to close the public portion and move for adoption.
Second.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeewoman Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. At this time, we have introduction of proposed ordinances. Our first ordinance, 2016-3176, an ordinance amending language of Chapter 16-3314D of the Code of the Township of Middletown governing depository account for contributions for the construction of sidewalks.
Are there any members of the public who would like?
This is intro.
Oh, sorry, okay, I moved on to, move for introduction.
Second.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeewoman Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held August 15, 2016. Our next ordinance for introduction, we have 2016-3177, an ordinance establishing fee schedule for animal microchipping program.
Move for introduction.
Second.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeewoman Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held August 15, 2016. Our next item for introduction, ordinance 2016-3178, a bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $5,314,530 for various capital improvements by and for the Township of Middletown and the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $4,857,853 in bonds or notes of the Township for financing part of the appropriation.
Move for introduction.
Second.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeewoman Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held August 15, 2016. And just for everybody, the introduced ordinances tonight will be on the website and published in the Trooper Times this week. Our next item is the consent agenda. At this time, I'd like to ask the Township Committee to adopt a consent agenda, which would include resolutions 16-178 through 16-194, including bingo and raffle applications.
And can you please call out 185 for a separate?
Yes. I have it.
You just also pulled out the, where's the veterans one, 16, which one is it, sure? 16194.
Consent agenda would include then resolutions 16-178 through 16-193 and bingo and raffle applications, and removing resolution 16-185.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeewoman Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt the consent agenda. At this time, we have resolution 16-185, resolution expressing significant concern regarding the need for an impact of JCP&L's proposed power project.
Before we make the introduction, I'd just like to make one amendment to the wording, if possible. Under the first where it says, now therefore it be resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Middletown and the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, that hereby formally expresses and states its opposition to JCP&L's tower project. Can we just clarify that to JCP&L's Monmouth Reliability Project, just so it accurately is stated in the record of resolution?
Should probably change the title too,
Yeah.
to reflect that.
Okay.
So sorry, minor amendments before we...
Tweaks.
You can vote as amended on the record.
Okay, move for adoption.
Second.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeewoman Murray.
Yes, with comment.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes, with comment.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolution 16-185 as amended.
Committeewoman Murray, please.
I'm going to be very brief, because I think we're going to want to hear from you guys. I'm excited to put a lot of the names with the faces myself. I think this resolution crystallizes what the Township Committee's feelings are on the matter. Some of these sections I feel like I could have written myself, as well as I think many of the people that we've been speaking to, and I think it very accurately reflects the committee's feelings on the matter. And I also just wanted to quickly commend the mayor and the deputy mayor for being great representatives of the Township Committee and taking the lead on this and really being trailblazers on this as far as the governing bodies goes. So I commend you guys for that. And I also commend the Rage Group, because I really feel like it's been a long time since I've seen a group of people raise awareness in such a way. It really should be commended for that. And also, and I think most of you already know this, whenever situations like this crop up in a community, a real crisis, there are a lot of opportunities that pop out of the woodwork. And I think this group has done a great job with turning down that noise and sticking to what's important and really trying to make sure that we effectuate a good change. So just wanted to say that, and that's all I have for right now. Thank you, Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, thank you to the committee for the action tonight. I know the mayor and I have been, especially the mayor, has been very vocal in attending different meetings and trying to get all the due diligence we possibly can. And, you know, this resolution, a resolution is a resolution. I think we can all agree with that. And, you know, I think this is still a process where it's a very fluid situation. And although I think, you know, it's clear that this has been proposed before, there are different variables and time and different types of things that this governing body and our neighbors and other municipalities, you know, now have to look at. But we realize this is a fluid situation. We realize this is a complicated and complex situation for the municipality, for our residents here in attendance, the residents who are not in attendance today. And we thoroughly realize that, you know, there is a lot that we need to learn, and we are steadfast in our commitment to meet with all the professionals that we possibly can. We have a tremendous staff. We have a tremendous township attorney, administrator, and, you know, some great resources that we will continue to tap to see what we, you know, what we can do from our perspective. And make no mistake, I mean, this is something that there are a lot of different angles. This is going to be a process, I think, that's going to take a lot of different twists and turns. But you can rest assured that Middletown greatly understands the impacts to our community. We greatly understand that we're a very large community and that there are going to be various opinions to any project that goes through our municipality, as similar as there are to projects that have happened in the Bay Shore and that happen in the different sections of town. But we also will do whatever we need to protect Middletown's interest. It's our fiduciary responsibility. It's our responsibility as government officials, as representatives of this community, to protect our responsibility, to protect our interests and our financial interests in the town. We know what those interests are. So we will do everything we can to protect the interests of Middletown Township in the best way that we possibly can, and in any way that we possibly can, under the best guidance and you know, under the best guidance and leadership that we get from our staff and our professionals in our governing body. We will work with the rest of our municipalities, as we have, to come up with a coordinated game plan to make sure that we're all protected in our best interest, because we do have an interest in this, as property values are very important to us here. We're all taxpayers on this board. We all pay quite a bit, just like everybody else, and we understand the impact that this can have. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to reserve my thoughts for the comments section, so we can move on here and get everybody up and speaking.
At this time, we have resolution 16-194, resolution establishing an honorary parking program for veterans at certain designated facilities and locations.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Committeeman Mansell.
Yes.
Committeewoman Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes, with a brief comment.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
And yes, with a brief comment.
Motion carries to adopt Resolution 16-194.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sure you're going to comment on the same thing, but it's just another testament that Middletown has just a fantastic Veterans Affairs Committee who put this idea in front of us. And for those who have seen, and a lot of new faces in the audience today, you've seen those street signs out there, which are for our KIA veterans, kind of documenting and cementing the history of Middletown and those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for us fighting the different wars that this country has been part of and representing Middletown so proudly. So you see those blue signs out there. This is just an opportunity, and clearly it's going to be an honor system opportunity, but an opportunity for us on our government properties here at Town Hall, the Art Center, I think the library is included, maybe not the Art Center, the library at Horsey Park, to provide a space for anybody who was a veteran. I think it's just a great tribute for something we can do for our veterans, especially as they're getting up in age. So, we have some younger ones too who serve. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to echo what the Deputy Mayor said, and just how important it is that we think of every little thing we can do to not only recognize our veterans, but show our appreciation for their service and everything they've given to us. I mean, we sometimes take it for granted. It's a wonderful place we live in, and you have to remember that there was a sacrifice and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into this before we were here, and we owe that debt from now and forever. So this is really a small token of our gratitude, and I think it's really important. It shows, it'll be a constant reminder to every veteran that comes into Middletown and sees these signs that it's an immediate thank you when they drive up. So, thank you.
At this time, we have the Township Committee acting as the ABC issuing authority. We have Resolution 16-195, a resolution authorizing renewal of liquor licenses for La Bella Vita Corp. and Red Zone. La Bella Vita Corp. And Red Zone for the 2016-2017 licensing year.
Okay, move for adoption.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, I knew something was in it. Excuse me, the title left off. It's also for Fratelli Inc.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Committeeman
Yes.
Committeewoman Murray.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt Resolution 16-195. We have Township Committee comments.
Okay. Committeeman Marcel.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. I know there's a lot of folks from the public who want to speak, but my comments are kind of all tied in together. First I want to congratulate our new officer and wish him the best of luck, and that he has a successful and safe career. I also want to thank our chief. It's really an amazing feat, if you will, that Middletown is one of the 5th safest places to raise your child in the country, and that's a testimony to, I think, our chief, our community, and it's really something that we sometimes take for granted with what's going on in the news as of lately. I just want to thank all of our police officers for everything they do for us. I also want to congratulate Belford on their 100th anniversary. Another phenomenal team that keeps us safe. And then, finally, as far as the JCP&L, we have a special quality of life in Middletown, and I think everything that I've just stated goes together in that. And I think fighting this will keep the quality of life that we appreciate in Middletown. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Committeeman Sedambrino.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief as well. I want to thank Belford Energy Company for 100 years. It's a fantastic feat, and it's something that hopefully all the other companies can replicate. We hope that they do, to continue to represent the Township of Middletown as one of the best volunteer fire departments in the world. So a couple comments with regard to Resolution 16-185, which is the resolution for JCP&L. Now, if anyone has read it or not, it's a two-page resolution. It contains a lot of whereases. It contains a lot of now, therefore it be resolved. And so once you get through all that stuff, it pretty much says that the governing body of the Township of Middletown doesn't like the way that the proposal has been made and its effect on the residents of the Township of Middletown. And as the Deputy Mayor noted, this governing body will do everything in its power to protect the residents and of Middletown as a whole, to get the best result for all of the township upon advice of our attorney and all of our professionals, to position ourselves so that we can get the best outcome. So you can read the resolution, you can read the whereases, you can read the now for there be resolved, but we want you to understand we don't like the project the way it is, and we want it, if it happens, we want it modified to make certain that the township residents are protected. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Woman Murray.
I'm going to diverge super quick from the Monmouth County Building Project, and we're going to probably be talking about it for a bit. I did have the opportunity last Friday to attend the Youth Police Week camp, and I just wanted to mention it. There were about 80 kids there, and they do have a second session coming up. It's run by our police department. It's a fantastic program. Kids from, I think, 8 to 12 go through a whole week of camp. And, really intense, and I was really impressed, and I just wanted to say that safe, wise ranking that we enjoy now, first in New Jersey, fifth in America, that's not an accident, and that's due to our police department. And I've said these words before, and I'll say them again. I think that people would be really challenged to find a more professional and community-minded police department than our Middletown Police Department. So I just wanted to mention that, and I think I've heard enough of myself this evening, so thank you.
Well, if I say I'm going to be brief, it's probably not going to be true, so I'm not going to say it, but I'll try. A few things. One of the things that if you attend township committee meetings, you read articles that I put out, the mayor puts out, the governing body puts out, comments we make on a daily basis. One of the things that is probably the most frustrating thing, just like something when they say you have no jurisdiction, is with respect to COA and these affordable housing developments. And, fortunately or unfortunately for the municipality, unfortunately for the governing body, and unfortunately for the residents of Middletown, many of these developments, we get, the town is building this, the town is building that. I can't believe the town is letting this happen. I could sit here for 3 hours and educate you on how the township has really no jurisdiction over these affordable housing mandates, and developments are just forced upon us. But the reason I mention this is that there seems to be a little bit of light that I'll mention, and I want to give credit to our township attorney and his staff and all of the efforts that he makes with regards to COA. And there was a decision that came out last week which was favorable for once to the municipalities. Restores a little bit of our faith in the state courts who's thrust this obligation upon us to not force the municipality to meet what they call a gap requirement since 1999. And if I can just give you a quick explanation, if the court would have ruled the way I figured they would have ruled based on their past precedent, we probably would have another 10,000 houses developed without any control here in the township of Middletown. So at least there seems to be a little bit of a respite of relief for now. So I thank our township attorney, our administration, our planning department, and our planning board for everything that our planning attorney, for everything that they do to help us to make a mandate that is just unreasonable, sometimes a little bit more bearable. So I mentioned that briefly tonight because I think it is very important when we see developments happening throughout the town. Two other quick things for you with respect to the police and the safest community, the fifth safest community to raise a child. I'm raising 2 children in this community. There's no community I'd rather be in, and I could, fortunately, probably live in any state with my job that I want to, being that I do some travel. but we are very fortunate to have the police force and the community neighborhood programs, the community as a whole in Middletown to be so vigilant, the school board and the Board of Education and all the partners that we have. So I am extremely proud of that. I'm extremely proud of our crime statistics being the lowest they've been since 1969, I believe it was. It's probably now 1967 if you talk to the chief when you see the lower numbers that will come out, I think, under the next report. But we're very fortunate to have a tremendous police department led by, I would say, the best police chief in all the land, and Chief Craig Weber, so, and his administration with his deputy chief. So I am very proud of them, and I just wanted to recognize that and recognize the residents of Middletown for all you do to keep this community the way it is. The Belford Engine Company 100th anniversary, this will be the second 100th anniversary celebration I've attended in my career. Navasink, however you want to say it, was the first a few years ago that celebrated, I believe, a 100th anniversary. I think they're the oldest in town. But a credit testament to that organization, because so much happens in 100 years. They've had two major storms. Sandy almost took them out, 4 feet of water, I know. The mayor and myself helped them with a little bit, the best we could, to help them get some equipment back and rebuild, and they did such a tremendous job. So kudos to our fire department, who are tremendous volunteers and do so much for us for lasting 100 years, and God willing, they'll be here 100 more. And then finally, with respect to rebuilding in Sandy, I had the pleasure of finally being on the Bray Avenue Bridge this morning. For the third time, I got to stand on the Bray Avenue Bridge in my career without getting hit by a car. The first two happened to be when the bridge was closed because it was washed out post-Superstorm Sandy, and it did take quite a long time. There was some bureaucratic red tape that Congressman Smith was helpful in pushing along. So 2 years ago, Mayor Murray at the time and I met with Congressman Smith on top of the bridge and said, hey, you gotta help us get this through. We're getting stuck at the federal level. The county's telling us it's federally stuck and heated. So it was great to be there today. It's a very important bridge to the community. It keeps the fire department and the first aid and the police to be able to respond a lot faster across to the area. So thank you to our friends and our partners at the county, at the state, and at the federal level, Congressman Pallone and Congressman Smith, for all their assistance in getting that bridge back up. Better late than never, but we'll be resilient. We'll never wash out again. So, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple of things. Since the last meeting, we had another round of veterans KIA street sign dedications, and it's always a great event. If you've ever seen one, or if there's one in the corner of where you live, it really is inspiring. It's a mini history lesson when you stand there and read those signs, and it makes you think too that these streets are named after real people who sacrificed so much. We're done for the summer, and I believe the next round are going to be in October, which is going to include 2 Revolutionary War KIA from Middletown. Is this echo? I feel like Cousin Brucey again up here. Holy cow. Okay. In October, there's going to be 2 Revolutionary War KIAs, including Joseph Murray and Obadiah Stilwell, who died after the Battle of Brandywine, I believe. And we're also looking into 3 possible World War I veterans, so we're going to try and cover all the wars back to the beginning. So we're not quite done, but we're getting there, so always a great thing. Speaking of great things, I had the good fortune to do a ribbon cutting at a new business right next to Stop and Shop. It's a gym, and freeholder director Arnone and deputy freeholder director Serena Damaso were there too. And it's always good to see a new business come into town. Anytime you see a business come into one of the vacant storefronts, everybody benefits. It really is tremendous, and it sort of feeds on itself too. When shopping malls or strip malls start to fill up, other businesses are drawn to those areas. So it's a good thing for the town. We really wish them a lot of luck. Many of you may have heard about the governor's proposal to equalize school funding, which is one of those things that you think, my God, it's such common sense. It would be, I believe, a great thing for the state. It would finally give us our due here and put us on equal footing. I think there are towns, not too far from here, they get actually 14 times the funding that our schools get. So you wonder why property taxes, school taxes are the way they are. We're footing the bill for not only us, but other towns around the state. So the governor's proposal makes all the sense in the world, and let's hope it does catch fire. This Saturday, there's going to be the Breast Intentions Cancer Charity is going to have a lemonade stand at the Art Center. I believe it's 9 to 3, and they do such great work. They raise so much money for cancer victims, and something that we hope everybody will come out and support. I know I'm going to be there. I'll probably drink more lemonade than I should. And one thing that I'm surprised nobody else mentioned, I must have leaving it to me, but the police vigil. We attended Deputy Mayor Fiore and Committeewoman Murray in Freehold, and it was every bit as moving as you would think, and this was before Baton Rouge. So it is very sobering to see all the police officers standing there, and you realize these are family men and women, and sons and daughters, and brothers and sisters, and husbands and wives. And to think of what's going on, and not only the disrespect, that's the least of it, but the danger that they're being put in for no reason other than they're being police officers, is staggering. And I wish some of our leaders, starting at the top, President Obama, would cut the nonsense and come out and condemn this, and not try and waffle and not hurt anybody's feelings or any of that nonsense. It's ridiculous and it's shameful that somebody at that level can't come out and condemn it unequivocally without having to throw a bone to the other side. It's ridiculous. So anyway. And then finally, I want to commend the folks who were standing out in the corner when I drove up here. And it really is, it's a testament to what makes this town so great. And you'll see towns just, up and down the corridor here that can't hold a candle to Middletown. And you wonder what's so great about it. Well, there's a reason that Money Magazine keeps naming Middletown one of the top 50 places to live in the country year after year. Now we see the 5th safest place to raise a kid. It's not because of the geography, which is spectacular, or the rich historical legacy. It's because of the people who make up this town and really give a damn about everything that happens here. And there's an old saying, people get the government they deserve. So we hope that we represent the government we deserve. Because you deserve fighters, and you deserve listeners, and you deserve advocates for what your feelings are. And I guarantee you, this group up here, the administrations, starting with the township administrator, certainly the DPW director, our attorney, work tirelessly behind the scenes. You have no idea how much effort they're putting into this issue. And as usual, as we do everything, we want to do it right, we want to do it intelligently, and we want to do it unquestioningly. So that we can promise you. We can't promise an outcome, but we can promise 110% effort, and I guarantee you, and I'll speak for everybody up here, which I don't like to do, that's exactly what you're going to get from us. So with that, enough out. Okay, folks, it's your turn now. So before we start, I just want to lay out a couple of the ground rules just to keep it orderly. When you come up, please state your name and address. And also keep your comments to 5 minutes. If you have more comments or questions beyond that, we'd be happy to stay around and answer. But we want to just make sure everybody gets a chance to speak and just keep it orderly. So with that, what's your pleasure? Yes, ma'am. Come on, take them over.
My name is Rachel Kanapka, Kanapka. My address is 25 Blue Jay Court.
Hi, neighbor.
Just want to say thank you, Mayor and Township Committee, for listening to our concerns and taking a stand tonight by passing Resolution 16-185. If this project were to go through as proposed, the negative impact to Middletown and its residents would be tremendous. The decrease in property values alone is reason enough to fight, and I applaud the Township Committee's willingness to get involved based on the extreme financial impact this project would have on our residents and on our town. Hundreds of millions of dollars of our collective home values would vanish just like that. But it's about more than just collective lost property value. Each property represents a family. A family that worked hard and made the conscious decision to choose to spend a lot of money to live here in Middletown because it is attractive, because it has excellent schools, because it is safe, and because it is an overall great place to live. To lose that pride, that achievement, that sense of security, and that quality of life because of one project that does not benefit us significantly at all is unjust. Property values are the most quantifiable way we can measure the negative impact of this project, but I think it's also important to think about and recognize why property values would decrease. Our homes, and Middletown in general, would be less attractive visually, for sure. Aesthetic impact definitely contributes to the weakened property values. The concern over the health risks associated with living, working, going to school, and simply being around these lines also factors in. The EMF argument has two sides, I know that, but I also know that given what I have read, there is no way I would buy a home in close proximity to these power lines because of the possible health risks and the perception of them. It would never be a chance I'd be willing to take. If a nuclear power plant was being built in Middletown in the same neighborhoods that these power lines are being proposed, the public concern over potential toxic waste leaks would be loud and very warranted. We should be equally as concerned when thinking about the EMF that will leak from these lines. It is not entirely about how much EMF they give off, it's about choice. Nobody should be forced to assume the risk of living in danger, especially in their home, their yard, or their school. We can all choose to turn off computers or phones to lessen our EMF exposure. We cannot choose to turn off a power line running above our homes. Aesthetics, potential health risks, environmental invasion, disruption of the fundamental fabric of our town. All of these contribute to lower property values and therefore decreased tax revenue to the town. Lower tax revenue means less money for schools and community programs, or higher taxes. Either one would lead to Middletown being a less attractive place to live, not just for the residents along the power lines, but all of us. I am proud to live in Middletown. I grew up here, and I chose to move back here to raise my 3 daughters. I want Middletown to stay safe and beautiful, and to continue to be a place that I am proud to live. I thank you, Mayor and Township Committee, for standing up tonight to keep it that way. Thank you.
I just want to make a correction on the record. I know you said about changing the resolution.
Your name and address.
Bernice Curto, C-U-R-T-O, 46 Southfield Lane. It's Red Bank mailing, but it's Middletown. And the project is the Monmouth County Reliability Project, because it was wrong in the original one, so.
Yeah, I made that correction.
I think,
Monmouth.
and it said county, okay. I just want to make sure it's on the record.
We're talking about the same thing.
I'm going to tell you my story, even though there's thousands of stories like mine, but I can speak for myself. My husband and I own our dream house at the end of a cul-de-sac in Middletown. The proposed transmission lines will be only 70 feet from our house and 40 feet from our tree-lined property. JCP&L is promoting this project as positive with little disruption to the community, which is not true. We are literally sick over this project. The monopoles proposed are taller than the Statue of Liberty. If you haven't seen them, please take a ride to Woodbridge, between the Menlo Park Mall and the Woodbridge Mall on Route 1. You will not believe what they look like. You won't believe your eyes. The size of these things could be in our backyards and in our schools and parks. It's on a major highway on Route 1 in non-residential area. I understand from JCP&L that while this route may be the least expensive option, it is not the only option. What are alternative options, JCP&L? If monopoles are necessary, they should be located on major highways and not in residential areas. What about our rights to the covenant of quiet enjoyment of our premises, which is the legal right to undisturbed enjoyment and use of our premises in peace and without interference? Property values will plummet in the hundreds of thousands of dollars per home. You mentioned at the beginning about the safest, fifth safest to raise a child. Not on my block, and I'm not the only block, not on my neighbors, not on anybody along this route. That will no longer be the case. What about the health risks? I hear about childhood leukemia, dementia, Alzheimer's, and like Rachel said, perception is reality. It hasn't been proven either way, and I would not have lived in my house. I would not buy this house. There's a question about the fall zone. We would be in this fall zone if the poles were to fall. We hear that you can't get an FHA mortgage. I'm not sure about conventional yet. What about insurance? I have more questions than answers. What about our trees? It is very likely my home will be unsellable. Where will that leave us? What about our American dream? Work hard, obey the laws, pay taxes, be an upstanding member of the community. Invest your life savings in a dream home. How can that all be taken away so easily by a utility company for corporate greed and executive bonuses? Monmouth County Reliability Project? I don't think so. I have a better name. It should be called Flint Ron in Monmouth County, a combination of Flint, Michigan and Enron. They'll poison us and steal our life savings. Shame on JCP&L. If this redundancy is necessary, do the right thing, find an alternate industrial or commercial location despite the cost, which does not impact our health, well-being, and life savings in our beautiful Monmouth County communities. Please don't make our American dream a nightmare. Thank you for signing the unanimous resolution. Please listen to the residents and families who need to be heard and comfort their fears. We need you to provide the necessary financial and legal resources. Please be leaders in this fight and support us by walking the walk and fighting the fight, both for us and with us. Please do whatever it takes to defeat this. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernice. Yes, ma'am, I think I saw your hand up. Okay.
My name is Donna Esposito, 131 Willowbrook Drive, and I'm sure you all know me very well. I've written to each and every one of you over the past 3 years on a constant basis. This was my dream home, and I had a leak, and it constantly kept coming out, getting larger and larger until I had an ice skating rink. I called the water department said it's the township said it's Verizon, and finally, after years of not being able to walk down my street, it was all clay. I have pictures of everything my house looks like now. $1 million home looks like garbage. I have a 5-foot, 3-foot deep hole, which Mr. Mercantanti said he was going to come 2 weeks ago and look at it again, but there's no further the township could do for me. So I hired my own contractor $14,000 later, and the water is pouring out now under the pavement, where I just want the township to know that the pavement is caving in. As I stated 3 years ago, when someone gets hurt, then they're going to fix this problem with the pavement, because the pavement is coming out a lot now, because the water is now not going on my sidewalk, which the township seems to think is an improvement. It's going underground and lifting the pavement. That people come by my house, my neighbors, they can't believe what happened to my home. I said, this is what I pay, and I hired a geologist, a scientist geologist. He had a solution. that it go into a sump pump into the middle of the curb pavement. The township said no, and nothing to do with a sump pump. So I don't know what to do. If you can't look at the pictures here, of what my house looks like.
Okay, Ted, you've been out there. haven't you?
That's how it works.
We've been out there, and it wasn't that problem. Initially, this wasn't a problem, it was 3 years ago.
It started like 3.5 years ago, and the water is still pouring down.
And there was
But underground.
an icing problem and some other issues, and we really had a problem determining where the water was coming from, because there's so much water coming out of the hillside. The house is allocated to where it's coming. It was coming over the curb, a lot of rust. It was, yeah, right, it was very unsightly. We finally determined we had to test it, that it actually is groundwater coming from it.
And we came to the conclusion via a conference call that it was, you weren't on that conference call, but that it was a broken pipe. The pipe needed to be fixed and diverted. The water needs to be diverted.
Well, what happened was this contractor came in, we worked with this contractor, he installed a pipe in the property, left the ground. There's one issue at the higher side of the property, we have an open hole there, try to determine exactly where the water is coming from. Actually, there's a lot of details to this, but it's around the horizon, some fire spots. And I have some recommendations for the contractor to resolve this.
He wants more and more money from me.
I understand that, I have to be a contractor. What I really like to meet with you and the contractor, come here, and sit down and.
I think he's the smartest guy who knows the
How long ago the problem started to happen? 3 years ago?
Maybe I started
Okay. No, I understand, so we've seen the emails, but we send the professionals, because none of us are professional engineers. Well, I understand. So Ted, it's been a little over 3 years, you say that I have heard that there was potential, there's a Verizon. I'm asking, I'm not addressing, I'm asking the engineer. So you stated down, Ted, that there's a Verizon Fios box in the area. Did Verizon put something in 3.5 years ago that disturbed the area that you have any idea?
That's my.
Because Fios is a newer product in the neighborhood.
And my
How are we
theory
at
is,
that?
this area is, there's a lot of areas in downtown LA where there's a high groundwater table. And my theory is when Verizon put this one in, they kind of punctured it or making it above the water towards the street. Again, it's just a theory, but the amount of water that's coming out, I think you've probably all seen it, that videos, we've been out there. There's a lot of water coming through. In my mind, it's like a jewel clear line. It was like a straw going into a juice box and then let the water all back out towards the street. It's just my theory, from my experience.
Dig it up.
It's undeniable the amount of water coming through. What that was. Now, you have, the township actually has an under drain in the street under the pavement to try to collect the water, and not only this area, but lots of areas to collect groundwater because it's an issue. The water was coming out over the curb before it entered that pipe. Now, the point we're in now, your contractor installed this pipe, and I know you're not happy with your contractor. My agreement is that, my idea is that you should put another inlet at the top there.
I'm sorry, this is my house.
Is it?
We can only do one at a time. We can only do one at a time, because for the record, we have to know who's speaking. Okay, Ted, because we're up to the 5-minute limit here. Is there a way we can, ma'am, is there a way we can get the contractor with Ted together in a room and maybe, hash out a solution? Okay. And Ted has your contact information? Okay.
I also contacted Verizon, they came to my house and they said it has nothing to do with us, it's the township. So everybody's passing the buck.
Yeah.
All those come on 3.5 years. My home, the township is nice enough to throw sand in the winter so I don't kill myself on the ice that goes from here to the whole length of my home. Has to be 50 feet of ice.
These things are always tricky because there's multiple parties and you know how that goes. Everybody goes like this because there's a cost involved with, so we have to be very careful with the town that we don't end up spending taxpayer money for something that's not our responsibility. But we still want to get to the bottom of this. So I think let's leave it at this. One second, sir. Let's leave it where Ted will meet with your contractor and you and see if we can resolve it right there. Okay?
At some point, my
This is a pipe that's supposed
Could you give your name and address, please? Your name and address, please? Name and address.
131
Okay.
Road.
For the record.
The pipe is broken. We didn't even need the subcontractor to do any of this work. There's an underground 8-inch plate pipe running down the street. Now, Township says they have no record of it. Nobody has no record of it. I mean, I didn't put it there. Somebody had to put it there. Okay, and I would imagine it's the Township's. It's underneath the paper. Now, when this private contractor went to drill down and run this pipe along my property, this was supposed to be the problem, rising water there, okay? It wasn't. When he opened it up, it was a cracked pipe, but he tried to cover it up also by putting something over it. Okay, so right now, there's a cracked pipe in the street, and I imagine it's the Township's, not mine. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Ted, just one question. Could that pipe be from the development itself, the developer put that in there?
Most times those pipes that we have to put in there by the developer, we built the house. I think we sit down and look at it, try to help us out.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else care to see? Going once, going twice. Boy, Jim, you just got in. I have a quick hook tonight.
Good evening, my name is James Fitzgerald, and I live at 117 Leonardville Road. I'm here to talk about a ticket that I received in Tyndall Park. I'm asking you to change the ordinance over there.
Right. Jim, I mean, cut you off, but we spoke about this, and Tony has looked into this, and we have a solution to it. So, Tony, you want to explain how we're handling this?
Yeah, just for background, this is an issue having to do with parking at Tyndall Park. Tyndall Park tennis courts have a parking limit of 3 hours, and over the years, the kids at High School North park in the lot. Kids who don't have parking permits, basically. And so the township passed an ordinance some years ago limiting the parking to 3 hours to prevent it from happening. But they still do it, but it's really not a problem until the weather starts to get nice, the tennis players start to go back to play tennis, and then they can't park. So usually once a year or so, the police issue some tickets. The issue that Mr. Fitzgerald had was that the way the ticket was written, it required a court variance, which we kind of agree is not really necessary. So I discussed it with the chief, we discussed it with the court administrator. We actually don't have to amend the ordinance. The police, and they've now been directed this way, it has to do with how they write the ticket and what specific section of the ordinance they refer to. So from now on, they will cite a particular section of the ordinance which will not require a court appearance. It will just simply be a $50 fine that you have to pay like any other parking ticket. So we can solve the court appearance problem without having to actually amend the ordinance.
Well, with this particular ticket, I'm going to fight it for one reason, because it's a legal ticket. What do you mean by a legal ticket? There's a circle around, the ticket was written at 12:35 on the 27th of May. These circle bolts, AM and PM. The ticket has to be written, look to Laura, it has to be written perfectly. This is a double circuit, double circle around both of them. So it turns out to be an illegal ticket, which has nothing to do with you. What I'm asking is this, is the ordinance going to be changed? I mean, if
We don't need to change the ordinance, is what he said, they just need to change.
There's a lot of ordinances, and I looked up the ordinances in town. There's a lot of these ordinances. They're so outdated, it's ridiculous. And I'm not blaming the police officer or anybody else. But, you know, somebody should come in and take a look at these ordinances and do something about it, because they're just old. I mean, this is 2016. I mean, this sort of stuff goes back to the 50s and the 40s. And there's just a ton of them out there. And some of them just go on and do other things with it. But I do appreciate you looking into it, but I have to go to court now. I have to take a day off, go to court. I have to pay everything for this. And if I pay a lawyer, I have to pay for that. So the person who lives here is paying for this ticket. I mean, and that's me. But I thank you for your help, and I appreciate it. And the judge knows about this? The judge doesn't know?
This has nothing to do with the judge. We're just telling you we don't need to amend the ordinance to eliminate the court appearance. You're going to have to go
talk to the judge about the ticket itself.
Just one more question. Why giving a ticket out for parking, no matter what it is, you have to go to court? If I got a speeding ticket, I don't have to go to court. If I ran a stop sign, I don't have to go to court. That's kind of foolish.
Well, that's what he's changed. That's what the administrator has directed, or the chief has directed, to not have to write the mandatory court appearance. But sometimes, Mr. Fitzgerald, and the way I would assume the committee of however many years past the ordinance did this, is if an issue becomes so pertinent where the fine is just so small or insignificant that people will just not change their behavior, that was probably a way that they got them to do it back then. I agree with you, it's a silly thing to have to take a day off for a parking ticket, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think, in looking at it, I think the reason it was done that way was because by going to court, the judge now has the discretion as to what the fine should be. You could lower it to $10, for example. And because they were largely dealing with high school kids who were parking, the judge would have some discretion with the actual fine. Doing it the other way, it's going to be $50 every time. So.
Okay, that's my question. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim. Is there anybody else who would care to speak? Seeing no other members of the public come forward, to move to close the public portion and move for adjournment.
Second.
Committeeman Stowe.
Yes.
Committeeman Murray. Yes. Committeeman Sedamino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor John.
Yes.
Motion carries to adjourn.
No, bro,